Westbury for a special, and I do mean special, episode of Iron Debate. This is the Fitness View meets Iron Debate. So glad you can join us on this Friday night on rxmuscle.com. As mentioned, we are joined tonight by the ladies of rxmuscle.com. You've seen them on the Fitness View while we combine formats, Fitness View and Iron Debate. We thought we'd have a little fun with it. It is a special week. Of course, the Arnold Classic 1 week away. And of course, this show sponsored by Species Nutrition. We're going to be at the Arnold Sports Festival, booth 709. I'm going to bring in Dave Palumbo, who, as on the Iron Debate, has the final word, is going to have the same on this show. So, Dave, 1 week away from the Arnold Sports Festival. Both Species Nutrition and rxmuscle.com have very exciting things planned for Columbus, Ohio in 1 week. I want to talk rxmuscle.com first. Preview show on Thursday night. Why don't you tell the fans a little bit more about it?
This is the most hectic weekend week, I should say. The Arnold used to be a weekend. Now it's actually the whole week. We actually get in, I think, on Thursday morning. We set up. We have the pregame show, which is going to be Chris Aceto, myself. You'll be there. Greg Valentino will be there. Joe Piataro will be there. We'll have our athletes. Heather Dees will be there. We have a special announcement we're going to make. And we're going to have a lot of the Arnold athletes stopping by. Hopefully we get Cedric McMillan to come by. And the exciting thing is that we get to kind of showcase and preview who's going to be there. You know, everyone's kind of like, I saw this guy in the hotel room. He looks great. He looks terrible. And that's the fun part, because the fun part is who will look the best, who will be the best athlete. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have the Hall of Fame, Bob Goldman's International Hall of Fame ceremony. We'll be live streaming that. Triple H will be inducted. Evander Holyfield, Michael J. White, the MMA actor. We have Lender Murray, 8-time Miss Olympia, going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So that's going to be exciting. So I'm going to get to interview those people. Obviously, we'll be covering the show the entire weekend, live play-by-plays, video wrap-ups, winner interviews. And, you know, we do it all. You know, we go all out for the Arnold weekend every single year. And then Sunday, I get to hang out at the Species Nutrition booth, and I think you're going to talk a little bit about that.
So, as you know, we have a new show on this channel called Ask Dave, a 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. Sunday afternoon, we're targeting 1 or 1:30 at the Species Nutrition booth, booth 709. We're going to have a live version of Ask Dave. We actually just got the sound system today, so you're going to be able to ask your questions to Dave. We'll have the sound system is incredible. It covers about 50, 60 feet, or at least that, not at max power. It's supposed to go up to 100 watts. So,
and it only cost $100,000. What a deal.
Only. Came right out of the rxmuscle.com budget. But we are here. It is a special night here on rxmuscle.com. Dave, I just want to throw one last thing. This was your idea. This is your brainchild. You burst into the TV studio yesterday. Sid, I got an idea. You know, and your eyes light up and you got this great idea. Tell the fans a little bit more behind your thinking, combining the Fitness View with Iron Debate.
Well, first of all, I love the Fitness View. That was my brainchild. And I got probably the most controversial person to my right here, Brooke Cook, IFBB Figure Pro.
Hello.
And Brooke, you're the great, because I always, on the Fitness View, I always want to hear you argue more with Nancy and Gigi. And I said, how can I get them to argue with each other more? I said, I'll put them on the Iron Debate panel. And so that's my whole I guess, impetus behind doing this.
Drama.
I want drama.
You want the drama.
I want to see the women arguing instead of the men arguing for a change.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we'll bring it.
You always do.
You
always do.
Yes.
We just got the introduction to Brooke Cook. Now let's introduce the two co-hosts of the Fitness View. We have IFBB Bikini Pro Gigi Amaro, and of course, Nancy Norman. So now you're sitting on the special format of the show. Your thoughts heading into Iron Debate?
Gigi, why don't you go first, since I usually am first on the Fitness View. I'd like you to take
my thoughts on, well,
the new debate format that you're about to embark on tonight.
I gotta hear what Brooke has to say. That's all I know. I mean, I rarely, get to argue with her, so I think this is probably.
Oh, Gigi, breathe stronger.
But can you handle it, Gigi? Can you handle the argument?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. She rubs me the wrong way anyway. So.
Oh, all right. Throwing down the gauntlet.
It has already been brought.
She ain't ready.
So I just wanted to bring this up to you both. You both are going to be in Columbus, Ohio next week. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you're going to be doing at the Arnold?
Let me just add on that both Gigi and Brooke are dieting. So
I see.
no excuse.
Yeah, no, that's going to bring on an extra feature to their personalities right now.
Irritability.
Yes, a little irritability, lower on the carbs, a little crankiness.
Sore bodies.
So, and a little extra irritability from me because I did start training again. I don't think I've trained legs in 15 years. And I hired I didn't hire a trainer. Ron allowed me to hire my husband, Ron Norman, allowed me to hire a trainer. So I'm training again. Even my glutes hurt sitting in this chair. So there's irritability from the whole Fitness View panel. So that's added pressure.
I like that.
Bring it on, Sid.
A lot
Bring
of
it on.
estrogen today.
I'm not
Let's
bringing
go.
anything. I'm only facilitating the bringing. And that's where we're going to begin. So the first topic of tonight, the NPC and IFBB Bikini Division has really seen an exponential growth over the course of the last couple of years. A lot more competitors in this field. It's become one of the more exciting divisions in this field because of the sheer number of competitors. That's brought about some whispers. Some think that it may be degrading to women, given the fact that you have bikini competitors go up there and, again, all the I guess, the sportsmanship that goes on, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Gyrations.
Gyrations, yeah. Gamesmanship is what I was looking for, but in their own fashion, and specifically mentioning the booty shaking, the winking, all the things that go on a stage. The first part we're going to bring up, Nancy and Gigi, I'm going to start with you on this one. Do you see an element of the bikini division, being degrading at all to women?
Well, Gigi is a bikini
So let's start with
competitor.
IFBB
So
Bikini
do you
Pro,
feel
Gigi Demoro.
degraded when you're out there, Gigi?
No, but I do think that the NPC competitors are a little more out there than on the professional stage. When I judge a show, I see girls who are pretty much like in a thong as part of their bikini.
Well, give us an example of what you've seen on stage that you would categorize as being out there.
I think it's just, I honestly think that half of it is they don't have the knowledge because they don't know how to pose. So they're doing it all wrong. And the other half is they're actually out there to win the judge's attention with a wink or showing more skin or bending over provocatively. So it all depends on the girl.
Now, is that something that you haven't seen in other divisions that you think is new to this division?
I don't really see it much on the pro stage. I see a lot in the NPC stage.
Nancy?
When I answer this question, what comes to my mind is being the mother of two girls. And I actually just posted on my Facebook page today a picture of one of the youngest of the Norman children. She was holding little weights in the pool. And I said, oh, no. Well, there's Gigi.
Oh, wow.
So...
So now that's the way that it should be done, right?
Yes. I haven't seen this video in a while.
Now, do you surprise yourself sometimes, Gigi, when you see yourself on screen?
I do.
She's like, is that me?
I
think that's me.
look good.
I don't look like
You
that
did look
anymore.
good.
You look
You
great.
look like that.
Look great. Nancy, go on.
So there was baby Norman with the little weights, and somebody said, oh, no, she catches the bug. She's going to start. And I said, if Daddy has his way, she'll be in a wetsuit and maybe with some bling on the wetsuit.
Now, what if Mommy has her way?
If Mommy has her way, she wouldn't do anything of the sort. I wouldn't want her to compete at all. I feel like competing may take the element of liking training and all of that to a different place. And it makes me think, when I started training with Joanne Lee in California, the first thing she asked me when she was training me in the gym was, do you have any plans of competing? And I said, no. And she said, oh, thank God, because I don't want to work with anybody that competes, because it changes the whole dynamic. And it reminds me, Joseph Campbell, one of the philosophers, used to say, if there's something you love, you shouldn't do it as your profession. You should keep it as a passion and do something else to earn your money. And I feel like competing changes the whole dynamic. That being said, if you love competing, genuinely love it, like my husband loves competing. He really, when he smells the hot oil, when he smells the Protan, he gets happy. I mean, he really loves being on stage. I don't know if you feel that way, Gigi. Like, if you do, that's great. But if it takes it away from it, then you shouldn't really do it. You should just do the training and all of that. But do I want my kids doing bikini? If they were going to compete, I'd much rather them do figure or something that, I don't like that whole bending over part. I don't want to see my child, because to me, it's very sexy. And then men look at you as a sexual object.
But why? In figure, they bend over too.
No, we don't.
No, they don't.
We
So,
don't. We
I
don't.
don't-
We don't. No. Cut
So
that. Shut
that
it down.
posing, did I bend over so provocatively that my ass crack was in the face?
Yeah.
You didn't.
A butt like that, put a little bit on a tilt, is going to make any heterosexual man think a thought.
Well, let's bring Brooke into this, because Brooke, you are a trainer, and that is something you've really carved out a niche for yourself. So let's talk first about just the bikini division. And again, with so many competitors, there is now whispers that there is an element of it being degrading to women. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think anything about competing is degrading. I think it's actually very empowering. We get on that stage, and that's when I feel the most confident. That's when I want to sashay across that stage and work my stuff. So maybe to some people it might be degrading or a little too sexy. To me, I
I think
think
they're just jealous.
thank you. You know, I worked this hard. You know, I done bought this $1,200 suit. I'm going to strut it, and I'm going to wear it, and I'm going to do it proudly.
But let's go back to the point that Gigi brought up, that fact that there are so many competitors, and now they're doing more to gain the attention of the judges, and that's where you start to get into the
Well,
whole...
that's you. You have to do that. I mean, hello, they're judging, so you have to draw their attention. What is going to have you stand out from the other 300, 400 other girls? So if you got to do a little wink or a little roll, do what you got to do. Look, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work that stage. So anybody
You got a good figure
that I'm
pose. I
walking
think
to get-
was your pose up.
Let's see your figure pose. Let's see this.
Do we
I
have
see the
one?
walk.
Can we see this? Can this happen? Not now.
No,
Okay.
not now.
Our producer says not now. But going back to the point that Nancy brought up about trainers not wanting to work with a professional, someone who really takes this.
I've heard that before.
Now, is that something you've heard before? Is that something you've said to anybody?
That's nothing I've said to anyone, but that's what I've heard before. I guess maybe working with competitors is a little bit. It's taxing. Working with anyone one-on-one is taxing emotionally, physically. When I train my clients, I'm like, I have to be mentally prepared. Certain people I can't train. Like I'm like, oh my, they're draining everything out of me.
well,
So as a
let me-
competitor,
yeah.
I feel like I would probably drain the hell out of someone, because I'm like bugging you all the time. I'm like, oh my God, but I ate this, and and you know, you got to calm me down and tell me I'm going to be okay. It's a lot. It's a hard job.
Let's bring up the second part of this discussion, and that is, again, when you have so many competitors and the fact that some do feel as if there is an element of degradation amongst the women's, amongst the bikini division. Here's the second part of it. What about older women now competing? Let's say it's a 50-year-old woman bending over in front of judges on a stage. Is that appropriate in front of crowds that include women and children? Gigi and Nancy, we'll start with you.
It all depends on the person and how they, everything is all put together. Your hair, your suit, the way you walk, the way you present yourself. So if you present yourself classy, as a judge, I would not look at you like you're somehow on the stage.
It's not a twerk contest. You
I
know,
think-
you know, like
Well,
they're
let me
twerking.
ask you, Brooke, do you think that it could ever get to that point? And if it does, is that a wrong direction for the division to go in?
Yes, that would be a bit much.
Right.
Twerking is not for the competition stage. No.
I think the face and butt implants too.
I think everything.
What about the fake butt implant?
I see them all the time, and they're horrendous. Like,
Well, they're so obvious.
they're so obvious. And it
I
makes me-
think each at every
Well, we all got-
at every stage, every decade, 20, 30, 40, 50, there is a time, and now that I'm at that point where I'm hitting the 50, I think there is a point where you have to reflect and realize that you are a certain age, and there is a time and a place for when you should do things. You know, there are skirts that are to be worn to no matter how great you look, you are somebody's mother, you are somebody's wife, and there's a place for everything. There was a time when I was 25 and I was supposed to look a certain way. But if you look great and it's in your blood and you want to compete and you still look like everybody else, you're not like, she's 50, and and your butt is to your knees and everybody knows you're 50. If you're up there and you're 50 and you look like the 30-year-old, amen, sister, you go for it. But if we can tell your skin is sagging and everything shouldn't be up there, really,
Yeah.
you know.
But that goes for the 20-year-olds that could competing too. That their ass is low and
I
they
agree
skin
with that.
sagging.
However, but there are some people that were 300 pounds that did this as a goal.
Well, yes, I do appreciate
and
that.
I feel like everybody has their place, and if they feel good about being up there, that's great. But
Well, that's what it all comes down to. That's the bottom line. Doesn't matter what other people think. It takes a lot to just step up on that stage.
I
That's
agree.
not an easy task to step up on stage and then you go tell me, you gonna judge me on my hard work,
right,
And tell
I'm
and then
with
place
you on
me
that.
too.
But I feel
I'ma
like
step
you
up on
need
the
to
stage.
know when you're up there that
Right.
there are going to be hundreds or thousands of people that are going to be very critical.
Right.
And you better have that skin to know that people are going to be judging you with a lot of negativity to say.
You gotta be happy with yourself.
Then, you know, I am judgmental enough to myself to say I had my time and place, and that's when I would have done it, should have done it, could have done it. And
He should have gotten on stage.
I'm okay. I never
wait.
had the
This
desire.
is me? Oh, yes. So
Where are you?
on the left,
Which butt?
all the way at the end.
All the way to the end? See, I love bikini in the sense that I would, any one of those butts I'd be happy to say is mine.
I love your hair that long. Is it still that long, Gigi?
Yeah, it's just yeah. I have extensions actually. Let's see.
Oh.
Let's bring in Dave for the final word on this topic again, with the bikini division getting as big as it is, and really one of the more exciting divisions in the sport. Is there an element of degradation for the competitors, and what are your thoughts on seeing maybe someone in their older ages still competing in that fashion?
Here's my issue. I think that anyone at any age should be able to compete if they make them feel good about themselves and they want to have a goal to get up on stage, and maybe they don't want to be a figure competitor or a women's physique competitor. That's fine with me. I don't think it's degrading. I would even encourage my kids, if that's what they wanted to do it. But there's a classy way to do it, and there's a non-classy way to do it. And only the bikini division have I seen non-classy. I see girls that are bent halfway over with their butt in the air. You could make out everything. There's nothing left to your imagination. You can see everything in that nether region. The judges can almost, see if the girl shaved well or not. I mean, it's just to me, it's so trashy. And I'm going to give you a compliment, Gigi, because when I see you on stage, you present sexual appeal, but it's in such a classy way that that you don't bend over. If we were looking before, you don't do anything excessive. And you know what? It comes off better. To me, that's more appealing.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of girls, they should have rules. You shouldn't be able to have suits a certain, showing a certain amount. You shouldn't be able to open your legs up. You shouldn't be able to bend over beyond a certain point, and you should be marked down for that. Don't disqualify the girls. Just don't place them. And you know what? They'll stop doing it. It'll stop instantaneously.
Well, here's the real question. What about this? Because really, they're the only category that has to do those poses.
They don't
Why?
have to do, but they don't have to do
Take
those
the
poses.
away.
Right? They don't
Do
have to
front
do those
pose and a
poses.
side pose.
No,
and
you could
figure
do a back
poses.
pose, and she doesn't bend over halfway when she does her back pose, and her butt looks great.
No, that's, you know what?
These
they
girls
do
go
it
push the
because-
envelope.
They push it because if you do that angle and you're not as tight, you look tighter.
Right,
They
right.
do it to look better.
But
It's-
also, they
they
think
didn't
they're
do
going to
the
attract
work
the judges
before.
too, because 90% of the judges are men.
Well, I
Let's
thought
face
it was part of bikini that you
No.
are supposed to give a little tilt, because when we do figure pose, we
No,
stand
we're
up.
not supposed to tilt. They
Well,
just don't
we
want the
don't-
lines.
we don't bend
They
that
want
up.
You
to
don't
see-
tilt at all. I saw you before. You do not tilt. Look at, that's
It's
not a
straight
tilt.
up and
Your
down.
back is arched,
Well, my back is really arched.
and you're not leaning forward. That looks classy to me. So bikini can be done classy, and it can be done unclassy. And I think they should make more stringent rules, because I'm embarrassed. I'm sitting in the
see
front
on
row.
the stage?
I
It's
sit there and I'm like
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
Do
I
you
really
see this
am.
on the pro stage, or do you see it in the NPC?
You
I
see
see
it
it
a little on the
pro stage too. There's girls. I'm not going to say
Absolutely.
names,
We
but
do.
I see it.
Really?
Yeah,
I do see it.
Because we're sitting up. If you're
Yeah.
sitting in the pit, you're
'Cause
sitting
I'm
up
standing on
front.
stage with some of them. and I'm like,
Yeah, you don't realize it. You can see
what the girls don't
everything.
realize is that it doesn't look good. It looks like embarrassing.
It's
like
uncomfortable
it's
for those,
uncomfortable to
yes.
watch. And if a judge is uncomfortable, I used to say this in bodybuilding too. If a judge is uncomfortable in bodybuilding watching the person, they're not gonna vote for them. Same thing with I see men who can't hit their poses, and when they don't hit their poses right, it's like you're like cringing. So learn how to do the poses, execute it classy. There's nothing better to me than a girl who's very attractive up there who doesn't oversell it.
It's also, it's no different than dressing. There's kind of a rule of thumb for a woman. If you're showing a little cleavage, don't show so much leg. If you're showing all leg, cover the cleavage.
Yeah.
It's a general rule of being classy. And
If you're in shape too, you don't have to oversell it.
I was just going to say, there's nothing to hide when you've done your homework. Everything is in place, and it shows. If you're hiding something, I knew somebody that used to wear fishnets when she was doing her routine in fitness because it was jiggling.
Right.
And
it's obvious.
We know what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, Ron was making fun of me. He's like, "What are those Spanx? What you're wearing?"
Right.
He thought my pants were too tight when I was going to the gym. He's like, "What are those Spanx workout clothes?" I'm like, "No, they're not." He's like, "We all know you're trying hard, Nance," and I'm like, "I'm not. They're my pants." But I agree with you completely.
They should make rules and standards, and the girls, and just penalize the girls who overdo it, and they won't do it anymore.
Okay, well. Point taken that we're all, I guess we're all a little uncomfortable with it, but yet it doesn't change.
I like it.
You like the bending over?
I mean, you know what? I be like, damn. I'm that person in the
I want to slide a pitcher of beer on stage, and
I'm like, wow.
that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm in a hot body contest back in when I worked at
Not like when they're touching their
Escapes.
toes.
Back in the days
comfortable.
where I bounced.
You know what? There are
But
kids
I like when they're
don't
sexy.
have
I like
knowledge
the sex.
on how to pose.
No.
There is no knowledge.
and the lower. And
Well,
the
I recommend that
regional-
everyone out there in the bikini division go talk to Gigi because you know what? Just learn how to pose like she does, and I guarantee you your placings will go up.
Well, Gigi, those potential rule changes that they've alluded to, could you ever see anything like that happening?
Like they actually say cannot bend.
Cannot wear certain cut
They already
or
say that.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
so
do.
as far as the bend, do you ever see any sort of strict
No.
enforcement?
No.
I see it changing. I do see it's going to get out of control, and then they're going to have to rein it back. That's what happens in every division.
So let's now move it on. Of course, you're watching the Fitness View version of Iron Debate. Look at that.
Oh, that's
Nice and
Brookie.
tight.
Now we have Brooke, so we...
So we don't. These poses are totally different from bikini. Why can't bikini just do these poses?
Oh, yeah, your face
no.
does change.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I
I
don't
don't
bend
like being
over.
up there
My ass ain't
longer
in
than
the
I
air.
need to be.
Look at that great production work by Johnny Styles. Blurring everybody else out, having Brooke there. That is
Okay.
excellent. Excellent
Thank
work
you,
by the
Johnny
master.
Styles.
We're going to go over now from bikini to physique. And at the upcoming Arnold Fitness Weekend, the Women's Physique Pro Division will be debuting for the very first time. And, of course, is going to feature reigning Miss Physique Olympia champ Juliana Malacarne going up against, or it's going to be a rematch against media darling sensation Dana Linn Bailey. Now, they both have different looks. Juliana Malacarne put on an absolute show in Vegas at the 2014 Olympia. So now you're going to get your rematch. And this brings about the conversation once again. Two competitors, two different looks. The first part of this conversation, we're going to go, Brooke, I'm going to start with you on this one. Which look represents the physique division better, in your opinion, between Juliana and Dana Linn Bailey?
This is such a hard question because
we put them side by
personally,
side?
I know them both. I've had a chance to meet.
I know they're both
meet-
great people. They're both so nice. They're both fine individuals. Which look better represents the division to you?
You know, when I think of physique, and I'm not gonna lie, I think of Dana. When I think of physique, that's immediately who I think about. But after seeing Juliana at Olympia, now I'm like,
Well, did her look in Vegas? You got to look on the screen. Did that redefine physique to you?
Yeah.
But did that redefine what you perceive to be the look for the physique competitor in your mind?
No, it didn't. I feel like maybe Dana looks a little smaller, maybe because Juliana is so big. I'm not really sure, but to me, when I think of physique, I think of Dana, but maybe I do think Juliana has brought a whole nother package.
Let's bring in Gigi Amoro on this one. Who represents, in your mind, the look that you prefer for the physique division?
To be honest, I like Dana's body. I like Dana's body with Juliana's face.
Interesting.
If I could have that. No, I just like, I think the long lines. No,
We're not asking who you want to go out with.
I'm just
We're
saying,
asking you
if I
who
can
you
put it
want to
together.
win.
No, I like Dana's. Dana's got long lines. She's a little bit taller. I personally like the longer, leaner, type taller person. I mean, to me, I think Dana.
Well, let me ask you this, just kind of alluding to what Brooke brought up about her look in Vegas. Just considering how her size, did that redefine the physique look in your mind? Or what it should look like?
I mean, obviously, if you're going to win the Olympia, this is what the world says this is a physique body.
Right.
But it's a subjective sport, and I like Dana.
Nancy?
First, let me say, as somebody who's met them both, and I've seen Juliana now at Bev's currently. She looks completely different. She's bringing a smaller, tighter package. She looks incredible right now. So I don't think I think it's going to be hands down Juliana. But when you look at those pictures, if I had never met them, I would think these girls are so much bigger than when you see this picture. If you've never seen them compete in person or you've never met them in person, they're little. You don't realize that they're small. And Juliana now is bringing a different package to the Arnold. Her body is substantially what you saw in the difference between her and Dana Linn. What you would say, oh, these are two different packages. I don't think you're going to see that now. I think you're going to see such a closeness between the two of them. But I love Juliana's body as a physique. I don't think that Dana Linn has there's something about Juliana's, her muscle bellies are so different than anyone else's. There's so much density and roundness, and it's just so different. She's boom, like you've never seen. She's like a cartoon character. And now that she's brought it down, and then she has this little waist and her little joints, and then everything pops from there, like a mini version of a Ronnie. Like Ronnie Coleman had that, but she's a little woman, and it's beautiful. There's something mesmerizing about her, and I don't feel like Dana Linn has that. She's got a beautiful body. And she's a beautiful person. She's nice, she's cool, and she's a brand and all of that. But she's not Juliana. I don't know how to explain it about Juliana's body. Even when she's just walking through the gym, she's like a gazelle. Boom, boom, boom. Those little muscles just go bing, bing,
You know what it is?
It's incredible.
And it's kind of like what Gigi said earlier. Like, she's bringing this just ridiculous package, and yet she's, like, super feminine. Like, she's gorgeous. And it just looks... She makes it look great.
And that smile that she has,
exactly.
She has that same kind of personality.
It's hard to be able to carry all that, but still,
It's the muscle bellies
keep
that
it feminine.
Most people don't have this, like that muscle that just hangs off the bone and still stays tight. I don't know how to explain it, but you have to see it in person.
So let's go on record. Let's go start with you, Brooke. Now, I know you like both of them. Who's going to win? Next weekend in Columbus, Ohio, who's going to have their arm raised?
Based on Olympia, I'm gonna have to say Juliana.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to say Juliana.
Nancy, I'm pretty sure you're leaning in her way, but let's get this on record. You're going Juliana as well.
Yes, sir.
Gigi?
Well, just since I know how the whole inner workings go, I would have to say Juliana too.
Inner workings. Someone is
The
lifting the
politics.
curtain.
She wanted she.
What does that mean?
I mean, she wanted the Olympia, so most likely she will win at the Arnold.
So under the theory of you have to knock out the champion, you don't think the champ can be knocked out?
How can you tell, an Olympian that now she's second at the Arnold?
All right.
Hello.
All
And
right.
she's international.
All right. So
it's an international show. That's what I would, they favor international athletes.
I did not see that angle coming, but that is a good point. Dave, let's bring you in on this. Now, Dave,
Gigi is very
that
smart.
was
She
I
did not
like that.
realize the intelligence of my sexy co-host.
Dave,
was
no,
like, damn,
we actually
that was in
just coincidentally, we saw Juliana Malacarne last weekend at Bros versus Pros. So let's just start with that. Your thoughts as you saw Juliana essentially, 2 weeks out of the Arnold?
Yes, she was. This is a debate that will rage on and on and on. And you know what? When you look at Dana Linn Bailey, she's got a lot of wow. She's got great abs and great delts, and that just sticks out in people's minds when they see that, and that's why people gravitate. She's got the cool haircut. She does all the social media stuff, so people kind of want to be like her. The difference between Dana Linn Bailey and Juliana Malacarne is that Juliana has better genetics.
Yes.
And when it comes down to the Olympia level, you could have two outstanding athletes, and the one with better genetics wins. Jay Cutler lost to Ronnie Coleman, time and time again, just because Ronnie had better genetics. Flex Wheeler beat people because he had better genetics. Not that he was necessarily the bigger or better bodybuilder. Juliana flows better. Nancy mentioned it in 500 different adjectives she used, but she flows better. She's got better legs. She's got a smaller waist. It just looks more pleasing to the eye when you look at her body and the way it flows. Dana's body is kind of like some body parts that are kind of shoved together that all are in great shape and have great muscularity, but they don't flow as nice as Juliana. So as long as Juliana is in shape, there's no way she's going to lose. Now, that doesn't mean that just because she's Miss Olympia, she's going to necessarily win this show. The odds makers would say she is, because I have a feeling she is in shape. We saw her last week. She looks really good. She said she's a little smaller than she was at the Olympia, but no one's going to notice that on stage. She'll probably be tighter and she'll look bigger. So it's all an illusion. I say Juliana wins this. I don't think that Juliana will lose unless she defeats herself, gets injured, comes in out of shape, and I don't see that happening for a while.
Brooke, you were making a point? Or you had a question?
Only because the picture was up that we could see. I feel bad for asking, but I'm going to ask. Can we put that comparison back up though? Because I want us all to see.
You'll see what I'm talking about when the comparison goes up, because they're both in terrific shape. They both have great muscularity. They're both in the best shape of their life. But just look at Juliana's taper. Look at her biceps. Dana's got flat biceps. Dana's legs are a little blocky. Juliana's flow nice into the calves. She's got the great glutes. I mean, that's Miss Olympia. This is what Corey Everson did to people back in the day when women's bodybuilding first came out. The women looked great. They were in shape. They just couldn't beat her structure.
Well, controversy. Now, what I'm going to ask is, do you think that Dana would be a little bit more streamlined if she had implants?
Breast implants? No, because I don't think that her chest attracts at all. I think that her legs are a little boxy looking, and her waist is not quite as small as Juliana's. That's just the way it is. But she's got great abs.
She's in incredible condition.
We're talking about number 1 and number 2 in the world. So
she has great condition. Her legs are just, she doesn't have the muscle bellies,
They're
the genetic.
differently.
I use the genetics, but if you just look at her build, she's a straighter build.
Yes, she
no
is.
matter what she will do, and
change.
she probably. Somebody's going to say Nancy's an ass for saying this. She probably needs to train differently to create some better lines.
I think that's just what she's got, and it's great. It's the second best physique in the world in women's physique right now.
Because she could work a little harder to put a little bit, heat in her thigh to create better illusion.
I guess, yeah, everyone could always improve themselves.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you look at the women now, and if you think about what women's physique looked like a few years ago when it first started, it was basically figure girls posing. This looks like bodybuilding. This is women's bodybuilding again. When it first started, they have changed. The whole division has evolved. This is women's bodybuilding the way it should have been before it got out of control. And I think it's a good direction they're taking, and I like it.
I do agree with you, but if you're number 2 and you know your body's straighter and number 1 has it, then you have to look at yourself and say, I've got to create more dimension on my legs, and I'm a straighter person than the one that's beating me.
Yeah.
So I've got to train a little differently to create that.
You can only
illusion.
change your genetics so much, though.
Well, that's going to do for that topic. Before we step aside, a reminder, Monday night we're going to be having a preview show, a special version of Heavy Muscle TV. We're going to be previewing the Arnold. Right now, confirmed, we have Jason Posen, Sadiq Hadzovic. We're working on Juliana Malacarne. We're working on a couple of other guests. Jose Raymond, the Boston Mass, is confirmed as well. So it's going to be an exciting show. Monday, 8 o'clock. You're not going to want to miss it. And, of course, we'll surely have some more guests dropping in as well. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Chastity Bono, now known as Chaz Bono. We're also going to be talking about whether or not you would want your kids to get involved in the fitness industry. That and more, the special edition of Iron Debate, the Fitness View version of Iron Debate on rxmuscle.com.
We got a nice little care package from Quest Nutrition.
There better be some apple pie in this. I'm taking apple pie at all of them.
All right, what up? It's Gilbert Melendez, chilling with my Quest bar here. First and foremost, most importantly, they're delicious. But it's good to have a good protein bar before training. Gluten-free, you gotta love it. And it tastes good, and it feels like it's doing the trick. I listen to my body, and it says yes to this, so give it a shot.
They taste great. They're awesome. They allow me to feel like I have a little treat while I'm still eating real strict for my training camp and everything. So I'm super excited. Off the top of my head, I have to say the cinnamon roll, the apple pie, and probably the lemon. But I haven't had one yet that I don't like.
Dave Palumbo here at the Species Nutrition booth, Olympia 2014. We're rebranding. Look at our new packaging. We're giving samples of Protolize, my new protein pudding. 30 grams of protein per serving. No soy, no crap, only the best tasting protein on the planet.
I love the Species Protolize. This is my favorite product.
Behind me, we have this beautiful new backdrop with our new repackaged labels.
We have an amazing line of products. You can go to speciesnutrition.com
and order your Protolize today.
Species is taking over.
This is IFBB Figure Pro Heather Dees, and you are watching RX Television.
Welcome back in the RX Muscle Studios, special edition of Iron Debate, the Fitness View version of Iron Debate. We are joined by the ladies of RX Muscle, Brooke Cook, Gigi Amaro, and Nancy Norman. Dave Palumbo, as his customary role on Iron Debate, with the final view on the topics. We now move on to our third topic, and this has to do with Sonny and Cher's daughter, Chastity.
I got you, babe.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. Changed her gender and name, is now known as Chaz Bono. Lost over 50 pounds, now considering doing a bodybuilding competition. So here's the question. Would he compete in the men's division, and is it appropriate? Nancy, we'll start with you.
Oh, I'm starting off. Well, I think it's
You're like, whoa,
absolutely. I wasn't planning to go first.
Topic, but hey.
No, actually,
you want a few seconds to think about this?
I'm the one that brought this topic up. So,
Look at that time warp up on the screen.
Wow.
That is something.
I think he was really cute.
Yeah, she was cute.
I mean, I grew up adorable. I grew up with him watching the whole evolution of Chaz. Anyway, I think it's completely appropriate. Wasn't he on Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah.
And
now he looks like.
so I think it's completely appropriate. I think it's fine to do. I think for bodybuilding, I don't think it's as much of a big deal if somebody competes in the men or women's division, because it's not a strength competition. It's how you sculpt your body. So I guess where it might come in as a question is if somebody's natural versus unnatural, because I think when you change to be, when you do a gender change, you can take drugs to do that. So maybe somebody would say that that's cheating, so to speak.
Like no one else cheats.
Right. So I'm saying like somebody might get, pull the plug on that one, which I'm saying when they do drug testing, they might get annoyed about
Who
that.
does drug testing?
When they use the natural shows and they do drug testing on that. That's the only place where I see that might be a glitch of something being said, but I think it's great. I think he might be up to 60 pounds now if I read my magazines correctly and my sources, and it said that he wanted to do Mr. Universe.
Oh.
Brooke, let's go over to you for this one now. Considering going into a bodybuilding competition, first question, would he compete in the men's division, and how appropriate is that?
What other division would he compete in?
Well, that's going to be that's going to be the part B part of it. But considering the operation that Chastity had to become Chaz, do you still classify him competing in the men's bodybuilding division?
Absolutely. I'm going to go with what Nancy said, because it's not a strength competition. It's strictly based on aesthetic. So I would definitely think that it would be appropriate to put him in men's bodybuilding.
Gigi, let's go over to you. First, let's get your answer to this question, but I have another follow-up to that. So is it appropriate for Chaz Bono to be competing in the male bodybuilding division?
Absolutely. I mean, he's a man. That's what he converted to or transformed to. So, he'd compete in any male division. I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't think anything different.
Okay, what about...
It's either he competes as a man
or he doesn't
don't compete.
What about...
And you can't do that.
A male becoming a female and then competing in the female bodybuilding division?
Does he look like a female? I mean, if you look like a female,
no, but again, we're talking
technically, and you got everything like a female, you're a female.
But if we're going technicalities here.
But that's all that, because everybody.
Well, I think I've competed with.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I've seen that on stage.
I was just going to ask. That's what I was going to. That's what I was going to ask. So you've seen this before?
Yeah, I think so.
So there is a precedence. There is a precedent
no one
for
knows.
this.
Only you know, and whoever your friends
okay,
are.
Have there been any public cases of this before?
Well, here's my question.
There was in Texas, I believe.
No, here's my question. When you compete, what documents do you have to give in? When you compete, your license. But are you giving? I think you're giving it in just to confirm your age.
Yeah.
Because for the division, this is not when you're a pro, because I don't think it matters when you're a pro. But I think for the national and whatnot, for if you're doing 40 and over, 45, for that kind of stuff, they need to know your age. I don't think they really care about your gender.
No.
Right?
But as long as you look like it.
Well, I mean, if you don't look like it and you're doing bikini and you're not filling in the suit properly, you're not going to do well.
So let me clarify, Gigi. When you fill in your registration form for a show, there is no gender space.
No.
Yes, there is.
When I was in the NPC, it says male, female, age, date of birth, all that, and then for the pro, it's just your signature and the date, because they already have it on file.
Brooke, let me ask you then. Again, we kind of flip-flop the topic now. Let's say a male becomes a female, still has masculine features, but decides to compete in women's bodybuilding, for instance. Does that work?
But
he's technically a female now.
Right.
Or she is technically a female.
I think it's fair. I think it's appropriate.
Okay, forget bodybuilding. Now decides, or wants to compete in figure?
I think
Physique.
it's fair.
You think it's fair? So we're going strictly on technicalities. You think it's fair?
Strictly, yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on that?
So you're asking a
If
man
yes.
competing in women's bodybuilding.
Well, let's say take bodybuilding out of the equation. A male becomes a female and now wants to compete in the female divisions. If we're going on technicalities,
I think it's fine. I think whatever somebody wants to do, they should do. I'm not sure they're going to do well,
Right.
but if they're going to do bodybuilding, that might be frustrating to the female bodybuilders because they're going to be more muscular. But I guess you have to do it across the board or not do it at all.
Well,
Gigi?
actually, from a female to a male, I don't know how like their genetics work. I mean they change, but do they change everything? Your hormones, everything?
Yeah, I mean.
Like one hormone replacement, yeah, masculine hormone replacement.
So a man becoming a woman
should never be able to get the size of those male bodybuilders, though, I don't think.
But just like
Is that
every
what you're saying?
Yeah.
Depends what they naturally started out as, but
Well, let's
but
just
I
say
think
Chaz.
a man becoming a female bodybuilder is not really fair in the sense that he's going to be more muscular right off the bat. So it's not fair to the female bodybuilders, but
it may not be fair, but it will be allowed, right?
I'm sure it would be. I think there is precedent on this. I think we discussed this on one of our shows. There was the CrossFit situation, but that was competing with strength.
Yes.
So that's a whole different ballgame. This is aesthetics. But I guess if it happens and female bodybuilders are not pleased with it and they fight it, then they might have a leg to stand on. I don't know.
Dave, now I'll bring you in on this. A, would it be appropriate for now Chaz Bono to compete in a men's bodybuilding division? Second, the second part of the conversation that we're having, if a male were to become a female, would it be appropriate for her then to compete, say, in female bodybuilding?
Here's the issue that no one's addressing.
And is there precedence?
Here's the issue that no one's addressing. Chaz was a woman who had breasts. I'm sure he had the gynecomastia surgery where the glands were removed, but still has technically a woman's nipple. I mean, he's going to stand on stage without a shirt on. I mean, is that appropriate? I don't know. If anything, he would have a disadvantage in a bodybuilding show because he has female genetics, female bone structure, female muscle mass. Even though he's probably on testosterone replacement, that's not going to compensate for developmentally what happened to him as he was growing up. So definite disadvantage for Chaz. Should he be allowed? I think anyone should be allowed to do anything. I think it's just going to be very hard to judge. Just like what if Iris Kyle said tomorrow, you know what? I'm coming out of retirement. I decided I want to be a man, and I'm going to compete in the men's 212, pro division. Is that appropriate? I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, it's a very sketchy type of, situation, and I think that it's a difficult topic to grapple with because, first of all, Chaz is not technically a man. He doesn't have male genitalia, even though if a man converted to a woman, you technically could get rid of the male genitalia and create female genitalia. And when is a man technically a woman? When he has the complete surgery or just when he decides to start taking estrogen and put boob implants in? It's sketchy.
I have a question that you prompted me to think of. First of all, to answer you, if I recall when we had the guest, our transgender guest, Lee Penman, on that explained a lot to us. I think you can be called a man. You can change your sex on your license or, do all the paperwork for that without having the surgery. And this is a big topic now with Bruce Jenner.
Yeah, but I think we're talking legally now. We're not talking about athletically
you can
speaking.
Change your sex.
Yeah, that's fine, and I think that's fine. I think they should be able to get married. You should be able to change your name, your
you
sex.
You can change your sex and be considered a male when you psychologically have claimed that, and that's it. You don't have to have genitalia change or anything of the sort. So that's number one, and I
But
believe.
can
that's
Sadiq Hadzovic decide he wants to be a female bodybuilder because he's deciding to be a woman? I mean, that's not fair.
If you are an IFBB pro, a male physique pro, can you decide in the IFBB rules to now become an IFBB female physique pro? Can you cross over?
Chaz has got a lot of work, by the way, before he hits the bodybuilding stage.
Okay, but is there a rule?
There he
on
is,
this?
topless.
Well, we don't know if that's per your post 50 pounds off.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
no, I'm sure he
my
did.
question is, since you can cross over in the NPC or IFBB when you have your pro card, I think you can go from physique to bodybuilding. Can you change from men's to women's?
I don't think you can. I don't think it's appropriate. But
I don't know. Can you? If you are transgender and
Well,
you change
maybe
your
we'll make a
gender-
new category. We need a few new categories. It'll make the shows last a little longer.
So
We have
that's a good
transgender
question.
category. We have
I'm not
transgender
sure.
man, transgender woman, and then
I'm
Well,
sure.
That'd actually be kind of cool.
yeah, I think it would.
That'd be interesting.
We'd get
interesting
even more
question.
freaks coming to watch the shows now. Yeah.
We get freaks on that stage.
So has this happened before, Dave?
I believe there was a guy in Texas.
There is a transgender.
There was a male
bodybuilding show, by the
bodybuilder in
way.
Texas who decided to become a woman, and he actually even ran for office, I think, for governor down there or something like that. And I forget his name, and he wanted to compete in women's bodybuilding. And I think they might have let him down in Texas there, Lee Thompson. Or maybe they didn't let him. There was a whole controversy. I remember it was in the news, and then I remember he decided he was going to run for governor, like in a write-in ballot or something like that. And I haven't heard anything from him since then. Maybe Johnny could pull his picture up. I forget what the guy's name was, but it's a very difficult topic. And you know what? I'm all for equal rights to everyone, but it is tough because it's not fair for a man who is a woman who used to be a man to compete with the women now. It might be more fair for a woman to now compete with the men. But then again, if you think about Iris Kyle, I mean, she's pretty damn good. So it's a weird and unusual topic, and I'm sure we could probably debate it for hours.
There was a situation like this in college soccer not too long ago. A man changed himself to a woman, and then there was a whole eligibility issue with the NCAA whether or not he could play, and I think eventually he was able to. But again, it's a unique and very intriguing conversation. But now we're going to move on to something maybe a little less controversial, maybe not. Would you consider having your daughter enter into fitness competition? So Nancy, you being a mother, I'm going to leave you till the last. I'm going to go around the horn on this one. Just given the fact that you have a culture, let's say in beauty pageants, with girls starting at very young ages and all the work that it takes for them to become, I guess, contest ready, stage ready. They're reality shows. Honey Boo Boo. I mean, there's a culture of that does exist. So now when you consider fitness competition, now granted they're not going to start at that young age. Maybe they will. Maybe, then again, what do I know? But just the lifestyle that it entails for someone aspiring to become an IFBB pro. So Brooke, I'm going to start with you. If you have a daughter, would you consider or would you encourage her to go into fitness competitively with the aspirations of becoming a professional, knowing what you know now, what it took, and really what you put your body through to get to this stage?
Well, the fact that I would be obviously a representative of bodybuilding and competing, my daughter would see that. And naturally, I think that would be something that she would aspire to do. And if that is the case, I would support it. I would support it. I love what I do. I love to compete. It is a lot of hard work. It does. It's very taxing on the psyche, but everything has its good and its bad. So yeah, I think I would support it. Would I encourage it again? I don't think I would be like, you have to compete. But if that is something that they want to end up doing, then definitely.
Gigi, if you had a daughter, would you support/encourage her to going into this lifestyle with the aspirations of one day becoming a professional?
To be honest, if my daughter wanted to compete, I would support her. However, I would not encourage it. I think that this sport brings about a lot of things. If you were never insecure before, you will be after you compete.
Yes.
It plays with your mind. It gives you start to compare. You kind of lose yourself, and that's not how a person should be. You should love the way what you have, and So yeah, I wouldn't encourage it. I probably wouldn't even say anything about it until, if she saw it on a magazine one day.
Your daughter comes up to you, tells you, "Mommy, I love what you did. Oh my God, you look amazing. I want to be that." Why would you tell her that you would not encourage that lifestyle?
No, I mean, I would tell her the good and bad of it.
Okay.
And let her make her own decision.
Yes.
And if she says, well, I want to try it, I say, okay. Then I would guide her to the correct federations that you need to do, the right way to do it, and support her like that. But I wouldn't be 100% like Honey Boo Boo's mom and be like, all right, we're going to do this, and like have her whole itinerary, and now we're going to go to hit every pageant on the,
Have you seen that at all?
What?
With that culture that we've poked fun
I did
at?
pageants when I was young. I did a few pageants, and I would see the mom
Right.
backstage, crazier than the kid. And I'm like, whoa, that's you put so much pressure. They have to deal with school. They have to deal with growing up, just being a kid. Now you're gonna put this in front of them, which they should just be enjoying their life.
Nancy, as a mother, as someone who's been around this industry for a very long time, if one of your daughters came to you and said that they wanted to get into this industry, they wanted to put in all the work, put in the dieting, putting everything that it takes to get up on stage as a top flight competitor, what would you tell them?
I think as a parent, there's so much more involved than saying yes or no to this question. My children have had a great exposure to health, fitness, and nutrition, that competing to me should be health, fitness, and nutrition, and the icing on the cake should be competing. It shouldn't be, hey, I want to compete. I think unfortunately, what I've seen over the last 30 years, and the downside to this, in the growing of this industry, with the expansion of the divisions, is so many people thinking, hey, I want to compete. And it's, get a suit, throw a tan on, and get on stage. And it wasn't like that. It used to be a lifestyle, and an eating, a training, and a brotherhood, and a whole foundation that was so much more. And I think that's kind of where the sadness in me comes from when I look around and I have like an eyeball roll or an annoyance in the gym, and the lack of the gym etiquette, and the people walking in front of you. And I understand where it is. So to answer that question is, I don't really want them to compete in this, because I don't love that part of it.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me throw a wrinkle into it, just as a component to building self-esteem in a constructive manner.
Well, we had a show on the Fitness View where, going way back in the beginning, where I spoke negatively about Lena Mission's daughter competing at a young age. And afterward, I spoke to Lena to understand why she had her daughter compete. And understanding the background of it, it was all about her daughter's self-esteem and how she felt about it. And there was really, Lena knows how to compete, Lena and Eugene. And is what she understood, how to give her daughter the confidence. And her daughter's a beautiful girl. Mm-hmm. And hearing that end of it as a mother, I understood why. But she wasn't on the show at that point to defend herself. At that time, we had Carolyn, and Carolyn didn't know that end of it or get to express that part of it. So hearing that end of it, I totally understood where she was coming from, but there was no platform for a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old, so she had to go in the division with all the older women, and she did bikini with heels and all of that. So where to put her was difficult. Why she did it, I completely understood. So yes, I get that end of it. If that's the route I would go for my child. As a mother, you go to the end of the earth and whatever you need to do for your child's self-esteem. My kids at this point know a protein, a carb, all of it. I got a call the other day from one of my daughter's friends, and her mother was like, I took your kid out to lunch, and she told my kids, you can't eat your carbs before your protein, and you need to have a green with it too.
Wow.
Like, we can't just have a hamburger and fries. Why is there no broccoli or string beans here? And the mom was like, what does she mean? And I'm like, well, you know, they eat their protein and their green, and then they're allowed to have their carb. That's the way we eat. And she was like, they're 7. But so they probably could write a diet program at 7.
Amazing.
So yeah, I mean, if they needed it and it came to that, I guess they're in the right household. People are coming in and out that Ron coaches, and they get it. It doesn't even faze them to watch a bikini competitor or somebody going down to pose.
Right.
And they see it all the time. But I don't think they want to.
Brooke, I want to bring up something Gigi alluded to, is the fact that in her career, she's seen people have insecurity issues, right? And it's something that really, when you compete, this lifestyle does have a way of toying with your self-confidence in a way. Is that something that you experienced at any point in your career? And is that something that you've seen in other competitors that you might think to yourself, all right, you know what? Maybe I don't want my daughter to go through that.
Well, that was something I'd mentioned. Like I said, it plays a lot on your psyche and the way you think about yourself. Yes, you do tend to compare yourself sometimes. Like, well, off season, for instance. Off season for a competitor is sometimes hard to deal with. We gain weight. You know, people are looking at how you look on stage at 130 pounds, and they see you off season and you're 155 pounds. And you're like, you know, you're kind of trying to justify what's off season, you know.
Right.
And it makes you feel uncomfortable. And you do look in the mirror and your abs aren't there. You know, you're not rock hard. You're a little bit softer. I happen to like that look. I happen to like my off season look. But it does play a lot on me. Am I training hard enough? Oh my gosh, her deltoids are more capped than mine. You know, I can't get my deltoids. You definitely are very hard on yourself, and you have to be when you compete. That's kind of the double-edged sword. You have to be hard on yourself, but then you have to like yourself too. So it's all over the place.
But how do you do that? How do you...
It's up and down.
I mean, it's
tomorrow I might not like myself. No, I'm just kidding. Tomorrow I might be like, you're not that cute today. Today I feel fabulous. Tomorrow I might be like, oh.
I get it. Mm-hmm.
But I find that so...
It's effed up.
I just find it so wrong. There's so many beautiful women, and for them to feel that way is so crazy that I just don't want to... I think that for a young girl to go through that is so unhealthy.
But here's the thing. The feeling that I get when I walk on that stage is like no other. So the ups and downs
it's worth it for you?
Is very worth it. That little 10 minutes that I get on stage is worth all the tears that I've cried for the last 16 weeks. It's worth the dieting. It's worth the comparing myself to somebody I thought was...
But
might
some people
be
don't
better
stop
than I
right there.
was.
They take that into their normal life, and then they they constantly compare all day, every day.
Well, yeah, we all do that though, right? To a certain extent.
But more so after
I think you
competing.
grow older
Yes.
and you stop doing that. I really do believe that. You can't live that way. It's not a healthy way to be. And I think as you become an older person, you just don't function that way. I guess
That's
unless
true.
you're still competing. But as a woman closing in on 50, I can't function like that. If my head was like that, I wouldn't be a good mom, a good wife, a good business person. If I'm constantly like, oh, look at her and look at that, I can't be bothered with, you know, every other person. I'm me, and I focus on me, the kids, Ron, the business, and that's it.
Let's get Dave's thoughts on this. If we'll say daughter or even a young son, would you encourage your child to get into competitive in the competitive aspects of the fitness world, knowing what you know from both sides of the angle?
One of the greatest things I could say about my dad, you know, is my dad never told me what to do. And he later in life told me this. You know, I purposely never told you what to do because I never wanted to be that father who imposed his will or his desires on his son. And he wanted me to be my own person, my own man, make my own decisions. And I made some decisions I'm sure he wasn't necessarily, you know, in favor of. I left medical school. I know that wasn't something that he really took. But he never said anything and never So I went into bodybuilding. He didn't even know what it was, but he encouraged it, and he always supported anything I did. And I think that that's how I would be with my kid. My kid said to me, Dad, I love watching you up there. I got to be up on stage. I'd be like, all right, that's what we're going to do. But I wouldn't ever say to myself, you know what? Wow, my kid's got better genetics than I did. I could probably make this guy Mr. Olympia with all my science knowledge and everything. I would never impose that because you know what? I learned from my dad that's how you can make your kid resent you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would never say you can't do that to my kid either. So, my kid is its own person, his own soul, and he or she would make their own decisions, I would think.
I think that's a great thing. I think if I watch some of the people around the sport or the dance, I feel like the ones that are crazy are the ones that, to me, that look like they never did it in their entire lives and are living through these kids. I look at some of these moms when I'm at places with my kids, and many of them are like 500 pounds, and they have this little tiny girl that they're dressing up and stuff. I'm like, were you ever tiny and able to be dressed like that? Is that why you're dressing this kid like crazy and making them up and stuff? My girls are just, they look like who did it and ran half the time. They let them put on what they need to and move around and had one shoes off. I don't do their hair before dance and let them go.
Well, Dave, last week actually, Bros versus Pros, we had the classic example of a kid starting at a very young age. We had a kid 9 years old nicknamed the Baby Hulk.
Stop.
Yeah.
No.
9 years old.
What was the father like?
He was a bodybuilder.
Dave, he was
No,
a
he
bodybuilder.
wasn't.
So,
How was he like? Was he
I
crazy?
didn't want
No, he
to
was a
ask
good
this
guy.
question on the spot, but he had a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old. Now, 13-year-old, he's in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I've seen many 8th graders, 7th graders lifting. 9 years old, and you saw the kind of...
He deadlifted 185, the kid.
No.
At 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yes.
No.
Yes, he did. It was impressive.
That's
Well,
really
I
bad
am.
for
But,
the
you know,
world sport.
What are your thoughts on that? So, starting your kid at that level of weightlifting at
not
a
healthy.
9 years old?
It's not even healthy.
Well, look, if the kid sees his dad lifting and he wants to go to the gym, and the dad, starts, bringing him to the gym and he's lifting, and the kid is just good at it and he's strong, then
God bless.
and he wants to do it, it is.
And the kid
You
wants
ever hear
it.
about these stories like the story Robo quarterback? I forget the guy's name. He was a quarterback out, and his dad, from the minute the kid was born, was training him to be the best quarterback in the world. I can't remember the guy's name. There's a whole documentary on Netflix about him. I mean, that was terrible. This kid hated being a football player. He loved the accolades, and he loved spending time with his dad, and that's why he did it. You could also look at Serena and Venus Williams'
Tiger
dad,
Woods.
who pushed them. But you know what? They became stars, and they loved tennis. So, that was fine for them. But once again, the kid has got to make the choice for themselves. And I think it's if the kid loves lifting weights and he's having fun with it, then do it. You know what? But maybe he'll wake up when he's 10 years old and he say, Dad, I don't want to lift weights anymore. If the
And that
dad
should be
makes
okay.
him go to the gym, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If he doesn't and he says, okay, let's go play video games now because that's what you're into, then I think that's what it is. The kid should make the decision. The parents could guide to a certain degree, but I think that ultimately the kid should make the decision as to what they want to do. And you know what? Obviously, being exposed to Ron Norman, obviously, or Dave Palumbo, the kid might want to go into this industry
Look,
because
the
they
older
see it all the
ones,
time.
We have two older ones. My stepson, he's really into jiu-jitsu, not into the weight training at all.
No, but he works out and eats right and
He
everything.
does. The one thing I will say about starting weight training young, which is really interesting, for a child with sensory, which is when you feel things, or the kids that have autism tend to have sensory, so some of them are off balance and they bump into things. And for some of those kids, they wear like a weighted vest. When I was talking to a child that had sensory and low sense of gravity and had a lot of trouble, I had asked them, when did you start feeling that developed and is now older? He told me when he started weight training, he was able to get balance. So it was something that I would really like to do with my daughter with it, is as soon as she can do some weight training and get a little more muscle on her, it holds them down. So it is interesting. It's pretty cool that she couldn't be in a better family to get it. That's a pretty cool thing.
Well, and if she gets
some of the
if she gets
PTs.
bit by the bug and she wants to go compete after that, then so be it. But
Oh, hell no. No, I mean, we're not going to, I don't think we'll encourage it in the sense that, I really would prefer not. I'm not going to say, no, you can't, but I would just kind of be like, we're here if you need it, but when you're 18.
Well, I was just gonna say, kind of comment on what you said, Dave, about if your child said they want to do something and they give it a test and then they do it for 2 weeks and they're like, I don't want to do it anymore. Now I feel like in that case, in order to teach the child consistency and teaching
quit.
them, keeping that, go to it, if you have to give a certain amount of
Right,
time
but weight training is
acclimated.
different than getting up on stage,
Yeah,
so
true.
you might force them to train consistently to
Right.
stick with the program, but you're not going to say now you got to get up on stage
That's
and
true.
compete.
Okay,
You
that's true.
you will go through this. Anyone that has had children, you will sign them up for things. You will try your best, and a lot of times they don't want to continue it. You try to teach them. We've signed up for this for the year. We've paid money for the year, and you go every Monday and Wednesday, and you try.
Okay.
And if they're completely miserable,
Like, no.
and you're trying, and they're kicking the seat you do your best to teach them.
Well, I hated swimming in camp, but they made me do it. But now I can swim because
you
of that.
try. I know exactly where you're going. You try to teach them, like, this is what we did and this is what we're supposed to do, and you do your best, but you see that it's not working. What I have done with people that aren't sure if they want to compete, or I say, you know what your goal should be? Why don't you try? I was just talking to Kareen about this. Why don't you do a photo shoot? Like, give yourself a goal of dieting, training. Make a photo shoot for yourself. Look at yourself in a photo shoot where you're gonna get, and take it from there. Because a lot of people can't even do that. And I'm not saying, but that shows you what you look like. Are you comfortable? Get in a pose.
Right.
Like, give yourself that goal, and then take
But
it from
but I
there.
think we're talking about the kid who, wants to do it.
But
or
even
doesn't
my
wanna do
kid,
it,
if my kid wanted to start training and do it, I'd be
Right.
like, great, then let's set a date, let's train,
Right.
and
And
mommy's
if
gonna
they're
get
re-
you a photo
well, if they're
shoot.
really
And those are
passionate
both
about it,
great
then they will
points.
do it. Then.
Right, and those are both great points. But my point was about the child who is just indecisive.
Listen, I have a neighbor's kid that's like that. They never finish
I
any
don't wanna do
activity. Yeah, 2 weeks.
And that's teaching them anything,
My kids hated jujitsu after a year and a half. I tried.
Well, see,
really
after a year
hard,
and a half,
but we
it's
tried.
like, if
they were
they
just
don't
like,
wanna
we
do it,
really
then
still,
don't do it.
I'm like, you guys really. We're driving there after a year and a half, and I could just see there was no passion in their eyes, and I'm like, you guys really don't like this.
Right.
They're like, we'll go, and I'm like, well, if you don't love it,
Right.
then let's stop. You did a year and a half, and if you want to go back, you ask me.
Right.
And we changed to
And that's how it should
more
be.
dance
And
and
that's
more
how it should be.
gymnastics, because the jujitsu wasn't happening. It wasn't like. But I hear you. You're not wrong, and it's hard to do that because you want to teach them that, it's a lot of freaking work to take them too.
So that's going to wrap up the debate portion of the show. We do have some questions coming in. Again, we have an open thread on the Muscle Central forum on rxmuscle.com. If you're not already a member, it is free to register, or you can ask your questions using hashtag RxDebate, or, as we're getting right now, questions on our live stream chat box. So we actually sparked some questions based off the last couple of topics with children, with figure, bikini. And so we're going to combine the two questions. This first question is from Delroy27. We're going to go around the horn, quick answers on all of them. What are your thoughts on PED usage in the figure and bikini division? Gigi, we're going to go around and start with you.
Performance enhancement drugs.
Oh. What's my...
I thought erectile dysfunction.
What's my take on it?
Yes.
I am whatever you have to do to win.
Nancy?
I'm not anti, and I'm just they're out there, and use them safely. Get your blood work done. Make sure you're safe.
Brooke?
Well, we've talked about this before. So I'm gonna go there. Me personally, I'm a natural athlete. But however, I don't look. It's part of the game. I don't judge. Like Gigi said, if you feel like that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. We're all gonna get upstairs, and whoever wins is gonna win. So it doesn't. I don't.
But you eat steroid injected calf.
Dave?
I don't see bodybuilding as much as a sport like cycling and football and baseball goes. So I think it's really part of the culture of the sport of how to make your body look as best as you can. And taking, performance enhancing drugs doesn't necessarily make you better. Some people it makes worse. So I think that if they're used responsibly and if people educate themselves and watch shows like we do and read some of the articles that we put out, I think that they can be used responsibly. And I think that in our sport of physique, I think that they're acceptable in my mind.
Let's go to the part B of that question. This one from Nayad X. You talked about children. How would you explain to your children about PED usage in this industry? Brooke, we'll start with you.
Wow.
Google that shit.
Oh, man, that's a good question.
You don't have to. They say it to each other.
Our users, our visitors are bringing it tonight.
Oh, my goodness.
They are bringing it on Iron Debate tonight.
Very good question.
You don't have to, because they go, your daddy's on steroids.
Pretty much. So if I would prefer not to talk about it. If they came up to me and asked me questions about
Here, I'm going to be the
performance
child.
drugs.
Mommy.
No.
Mommy. Why is that man putting a syringe in his buttocks?
Oh, man, that's a real
And
question.
there's a sign in the gymnasium that says no using steroids. What does that mean, Mommy? What are steroids?
Yeah, you know what? I can't. To be honest, I can't answer that question right now.
Why, Mommy? Can we have ice cream and talk about
We
steroids?
have ice cream and not talk about steroids.
Are there steroids in ice cream?
Man.
All right, so Nancy, you're going to go from being the 6-year-old to now a mother.
That's a deep question.
A question that, or a topic of conversation that you would potentially have with one of your children.
We've had it already.
Okay.
We have the older kids. It's, they read about it, they hear about it. It's some athletes use them, some athletes don't. It's really a choice that the athlete makes individually. That's pretty much how you answer it.
Sure.
And if they ask, what are they? Yeah, I mean, at this point in life, they can Google Safari, they can search anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to be, as a parent, I think your best choice is always to be honest with them.
Sure.
As well as you can. So you just answer honestly and as directly as you can, and you ask them to please come to you with whatever question you can. If you don't answer them honestly, they're going to go out there with stupid information
And go find it
and then they
themselves.
sound stupid to the other kids, and the other kids make fun of them. Whereas you ask them directly, then answer them directly, they're informed, they're intelligent, and then it goes away really fast, and they're done.
Gigi, I'll ask you in this manner, because this is something that
I guess
Nancy...
a special way. Okay.
Is it a conversation that you would have to proactively have with your kids before they come and ask you?
What kid does she have?
Oh,
You gotta give Gigi
we are
a
talking
visual.
hypotheticals
You
here.
gotta
Okay,
give
okay,
Gigi
okay.
a visual.
Your darling 8-year-old daughter.
Well, why would my 8-year-old daughter come to me about? There has to be okay. So what was
Okay,
the question?
Because your
So-
big
so-
muscular husband left a syringe out on your vanity
Okay.
with
And
a
how
little
did-
vial cracked in half.
And how would I?
Mommy, what is that?
Yeah, how would
Next
you
to your
how would you
eyeliner.
discuss again, understanding that they're going to be curious?
This is a case by case basis, depending
Sure.
on how old my child
She
is.
needs a visual. What did I tell you?
No, on a case by case basis, because an 8-year-old, you're not gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell my 8-year-old.
Or a
what-
13-year-old, somebody who now has years of access to Google, they
Okay, then
surf
that's
the
different.
internet.
I'll keep
Okay,
it real.
right,
So
keep
I'll
it real.
Like, this is what's going on, and
Right.
if you have any, and whatever information you need, I will explain it to you, or I will let you know.
All right.
But if it's for like my 8-year-old, 6-year-old, no, I'd be like, oh, I got that from the hospital. I don't know.
Medicine.
It's medicine.
All right, so the keep it real approach. Dave, one of your kids, 13, 14 years old, has had years of access. They know about you. They know about your life as a bodybuilder, your life in this industry. How do you have this conversation with your kids?
It's an easy conversation because, first of all, you say these are adult vitamins. That's how I would bring it up. And I would say these are when you're 18 years old, if you decide you want to use this and this is something that you want to do and it's not against the organization or sport that you're competing in, then these are things that you can make personal decisions on later in life. But this is not for teenagers. It will stunt your growth. It will do negative things to you. And this is not something that you should be concerned with or considering. But adults can make these decisions for themselves. And in certain sports, it's allowed. And in certain sports, it's not. And that you have to make your own decisions based on, what sports or what activities you're going to be involved in. And I think that's the right way to really handle it at this point.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything.
Oh, okay.
We're just laughing.
We're just laughing.
We're going to finish with this question, and it is a good question. And this, our users on the live stream, live chat box are absolutely bringing it tonight.
We have a harder question.
And they do address you, Gigi, in particular. So we'll start with you on. Actually, you know what? We're going to save you for last.
Oh, Gigi.
The question is that, Gigi being a member of Team Bombshell, does an athlete in today's age of competition have to be on that kind of a team, have to be part of some sort of alliance or have allegiance to some organization for political reasons, for better placings in competition? So, Brooke, we'll start with you on this one. Do you feel as if that is, forget important, almost a necessity in today's era of competition to have success in this field?
Absolutely not. I've never been on a team.
You're on Team Fitness View.
I'm on Team. There we
you
go.
Know it.
I'm on Team Fitness View. Yes, definitely. But no, I don't think. I think it makes it easier to be able to train with people and have that camaraderie and have the group and the love and the support. Do I think it's a necessity? No, I don't.
So you don't think it has any bearings on the judge's decisions?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Nancy.
Yes. you want
Finally, you all disagreed. We've gone so long with everybody. Yes, I agree with so on and so forth. Not only giving you my take.
I definitely think that it can have a positive or a negative.
Okay.
I think depending where you are and who you're with, it can be a positive or negative. Certain regions, certain teams are positively looked upon, and
why can't we not just say we just turn out the best looking girls?
Well, you can say that for Bombshell, and that's fine. But, management teams, being part of Team Bombshell, being part of RX, whatever you're with, if you're a leader athlete, if you're with muscular, whoever you're with, an allegiance or an alliance or being with somebody has to have some sort of effect on you. And it can be positive or negative at some point in your career, possibly in the judging, not in the judging. It has to. I mean, anyone that says, every judge, everywhere you go, we're human. They're human beings. And there is some attachment to what they do, no matter how much they want to be neutral. And I'm sure they all try. There is a little bit of emotion in there. So whether it could be positive, it could be negative, and I think it all ends up balancing out.
All right, Nancy.
Eventually.
So again, let's go with the Gigi approach here. Let's keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well,
now you said yes. No, Nancy. I'm staying with you on this one. You said it does make a difference, but then
Gigi's taking my microphone.
But then you went to the part of that it may have some sort of an emotional difference. We're talking about the question again deals with the political nature that being part of a team, part of an alliance would have.
Well, I'm saying if you understood, if I was able to express what my point was that everyone judging you still is human, and even though they're all supposed to be neutral and be at zero, they're still human. So everyone can be a little bit emotionally attached to something, whether they're pro Bombshell, negative Bombshell. I think it all evens out.
It could be an individual thing. It just so happens that girl is on a team.
So let's.
Gigi's still in the microphone.
So let's go to Team Bombshell member Gigi Amoro. Again, the question did mention you specifically, you being on Team Bombshell, and again the question: do you have to be nowadays on a team or some sort of an alliance, given political nature of some organizations, political nature of some shows?
No, I really, I don't think that who you're with matters. At the end of the day, if you look good and you bring a great package to the stage, you're going to win it. So don't matter if I've never seen you on stage, but if you come out and you look like banging, I'm like, I would, I don't do.
Did you say banging?
I did.
She's kept it real, and now she used banging.
Was that it?
Bringing it all. We are seeing a side to Gigi Amora, ladies and gentlemen, that we have not yet seen, and I'm loving it.
Gigi be banging.
But go on. So you are going on record as saying that
You look good.
Right.
You're banging.
So your affiliation
I'm actually
on Team Bombshell.
I'm one of the coaches for Bombshell.
Okay.
Give her proper title. Sid. Properly titled
So
Gigi.
you're on record saying that this kind of a thing, this kind of affiliation, has absolutely no bearing on the judges.
It is freaking 90 degrees in here. Holy
It is pretty
heat
hot in
zone.
here.
Am I going through menopause?
Do we have to call in the paramedics for you?
Oh
No.
my God! Is it,
It does not.
How
I
are
think-
you wearing that hat and him with the leather jacket? I'm coming in a bikini.
I'm
I
fine.
think Nancy's having a nervous breakdown.
No, it's freaking so hot in here. Is it not?
We're doing a TV show. Do you
I don't
realize
care.
that?
I need to tell the viewers it's 90 degrees in here because Dave has snakes.
All right.
Oh,
So,
no, I don't think that has any
okay.
bearing. I think anything that's related to judges is a personal thing. I
Sure.
think that you get once you're been competing for a while, you get to know who's judging you, and I think that's what makes a difference is the personal.
Yes.
Is the personal interaction.
Now
not
that's
what team.
important.
Say again.
That's important.
Personal.
That's a good point.
Relationships?
Yes,
Yeah.
building relationships with the judges, getting to know them, having your face out there. Now that is what's going
constantly-
to
Okay.
make the difference on the stage. And I'm gonna be all up in them judges' faces, and I'm gonna smile, I'm gonna wink, and I'm gonna do whatever the hell.
What's your signature? What's your signature
Can we see that?
maneuver to what? Yes, I would like to know from Brooke and from Gigi. What is your signature?
Well, we saw Gigi's
Well,
signatures.
No, I want it here in the studio. What is your signature move to get the judge's attention?
Well, I can't do
Look
it in
into the
studio
camera
'cause-
and.
Can't do it in the
It's
studio
not
because it's
wink.
my walk.
It's
I
your
don't
walk?
wink because I don't know how to wink.
Well, you don't? You wink pretty well. And your
No, I don't
ducky
do it on
face is
stage,
cute
though.
too. But let me see, like, is it a swagger move? Is it a?
It's the turn and it's the.
Do you snap up there?
I might. Yeah,
I
tell,
might.
but I
You're in
do.
the
I
moment.
be in the
You have
moment.
no idea
Like-
what go. Like you. She does
Yes,
it.
and then I be having on my Malaysian hair.
Oh, you.
My wig.
Oh, you.
The wig, that
Oh.
that front lace.
Oh, you're gonna put it back in.
Why y'all acting like y'all don't know about extensions?
I know about it.
I hate that. Like black girls is the only one to wear
Well,
wigs.
that's
Jesus
No,
said she was
like-
wearing one.
No, no,
Like
no.
Malaysian.
No, I don't know what you're talking about when you say Malaysian.
What type of hair y'all buy?
I
What
don't-
type of weave you wearing right now?
I don't wear weave.
Oh, okay.
I don't wear weave.
All right.
No, I don't. But I don't.
Well, my weave is 100% Malaysian.
I don't know
honey,
that. We don't call
on
it
that
that.
stage.
All right,
Can
Dave.
guys get weaves? Because I need hair.
Yes.
I need a lot more hair on this head.
You certainly can.
What kind of weave should I get, Brooke?
Malaysian? You act like you don't know Malaysian.
We're going to get Dad some Indian Remy.
Indian ribbon?
Well, who calls it that?
Well, maybe that's a black
I want
thing.
some.
I
That's
don't
all I
call
know
it
because I
by
don't have any
name.
hair. Get me some
I had
Indian Remy.
Cliptons and I called them Sasha. I name my shit.
I
don't
want
call it
Gigi's hair.
Malaysian.
What kind of
No, we
clip-ins
don't
do you
name
use?
our
What kind of extensions you use?
Natural.
I don't believe it.
Totally.
I do want to do a show on the Fitness View for extensions, but I just call them extensions.
Listen, we
Because
say-
you don't
we
wear
say
them, you don't
weave.
know all the
No, I
technical
don't know
terms.
the names.
See, I say weave. It's a weave.
I know the name
It's a
weave.
front lace. It's a full lace. Y'all know
Say-
what those are, right?
No, I don't.
Those are wigs.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Why,
You
is
want-
she
Brooke,
acting
why
like
wouldn't
so
people
mad
just
at
put
us?
wigs on? Why do they have to weave it in? It
Well,
looks
when
better.
I got
Falls
smart,
out.
when I got smart, that's when I started getting my front lace. Front lace is basically
Explain.
so front lace. or
Explain,
full-
Lucy.
Front lace or full lace gives you the freedom and the versatility to be able to part it in anywhere, wear it
Oh,
up
it
without
must be
showing
how
any
it's
tracks.
how it's sewn into
Right,
the piece.
right,
Okay.
right. And so you don't see any like.
So we need to do
It
a
looks
whole
natural.
Fitness View on this because
Yeah.
we don't understand. And white hair is very different than
Well, obviously
black
we can
hair.
see. Look, you could do a
Right.
close up on this.
Because I
and
did
a
ask
close-up
that.
on that.
I did ask that because
Yeah, see, I'm going.
I was talking to
Nancy said she would do a blowout for you, though.
I
Did you?
can't do a blowout.
Why not?
I wouldn't know. Just like my nanny was explaining to me, because she can braid the girls' hair, and she was saying that it's just very different if you're gonna do the extensions, because the black hair will curl up, and you need a different type of hair.
Different show, different night, Sid, right?
So it's a whole different.
Yeah, it's a
so
whole
she's
different
explaining
weave.
why it's different, and that's why
It
I
is
don't
different.
understand it.
It is different.
Yeah, I was gonna
have
say.
very straight white girl
I'll
hair.
give you my final word here.
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say,
it's all about the teams, right? I say this. It's
Wait, we didn't get Gigi's signature pose.
Competing is about publicity. It's a lot about promoting yourself. You know, we do a lot on RX Muscle to help promote the athletes, and you know what it does? It enables the athletes to be seen by the judges who will be judging them, because the judges are bodybuilders and they work out at heart too, and they watch all this program. And they're watching the Iron Debate tonight, and they're going to see all you guys on the panel, and they're going to get to know who Brooke is. And I'm sure when they see you on stage, they're going to be like, "That's the
Make
girl
the signature
from the
pose."
Fitness View." And you know what? She's going to do better because of that. So I always tell people, look, you can have the great physique. You put the work in the gym. You don't have to belong to a team. If you like a team and you like the teamwork, I was always an individual. I was an independent. I didn't like to have to wait for other people to do sets and reps, and I can't handle that. I have no patience. But a lot of people need that nurturing, and that's why Gigi is so great at what she does, because she nurtures these young girls and teaches them how to be like her and be a professional. And I think that works great. But I don't necessarily think that helps people's placings, but it does help their placings in the sense if they're doing videos and they're online and they're getting exposure from Team Bombshell, then of course that's going to help them. But the judges are going to be used to seeing them, and judges, as Nancy said, have emotions, and they you know, when they're going to judge someone and it's very close between two people, they're going to go with the person they know or recognize. That's just human nature. So guys, promote yourself. That's what it's all about.
On that note, we're going to wrap this show up. Programming reminders: Monday night special episode of Heavy Muscle TV. It is going to be a full-out extravaganza. We're going to have Jason Poston, Sadiq Hadzovic, the Boston Mass, Jose Raymond. We're working on Juliana Malacarne, surprise guests up the wazoo. It is going to be a full division by division preview of the 2015 Arnold Classic. And then Thursday night, of course, we're going to be live in Columbus, Ohio, from the site of the Arnold Sports Festival, where we're going to have a full preview show. I believe Nancy and Gigi are going to be able to drop by, as well as many other athletes that are going to be competing at the Arnold Sports Festival. And then after the Arnold, we are going to have post-Arnold shows with the Fitness View and Heavy Muscle TV, breaking down the winners, what we thought, who got snubbed, as well as athletes' interviews. Keep it locked to rxmuscle.com. Have a good weekend.